Well, welcome. We would like to call this meeting to order. It is May 9, 2022. Will you please stand and join me as we say the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ms. Lemon, will you please do a roll call?
Director Bentley.
Present.
Director Mash.
Present.
Director Matthews. Director Mueller.
Present.
Director Norwood.
Present.
Director Pappas.
Present.
Director Sullivan.
Present.
6 board members present.
Thank you. So it is now time for Board of Education announcements, and you will notice that our president is not here tonight. He had other obligations, so hopefully he's having a good time seeing his son get some awards. We are looking forward to the meeting tonight. We have a lot of recognitions, and it is so great to see such a full house here tonight, and we look forward to recognizing all of you. So thank you. It is time to approve the agenda. We'll need a motion for that.
I move that the Board of Education of Greeley Evans School District 6 approves the agenda as presented.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Ms. Lemon, can we do a vote?
Director Bentley.
Aye.
Director Mash.
Aye.
Director Mueller.
Aye.
Director Norwood.
Aye.
Director Pappas.
Aye.
Director Sullivan.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Our first special event tonight is the Council of Student Representatives report, and I believe we will be hearing from the Online Academy.
Good evening, Board of Education and Dr. Pilch. It is my honor to introduce to you Regan Medellis. She's one of our Council of Student Reps students and from the District 6 Online Academy, and she has just been a joy this year. She's full of energy, full of ideas, and quite possibly one of the very few in the district to be recognized probably twice on the student spotlight. So once in middle school, once in high school. That's what kind of person she is. So to give a report on District 6 Online Academy and next year to be a Central Wildcat, I have Regan.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Regan Medellis, and I am a sophomore at the District 6 Online Academy. I am a member of the School Advisory Committee as well as the District 6 Council of Student Representatives. Both have allowed student voices to be heard in a variety of areas and have provided opportunities just like this one, getting to tell you all the great things about my school. As we know, the past couple of years have been anything but normal. We have had to make adjustments in work, extracurricular activities, and most importantly, learning. The Online Academy has been an appropriate representation of the adaptation we've had to make in order to satisfy the needs of our students in the district. And for having limited time to be up and running with no blueprint, I have felt as a student that everyone who contributed to the success of our school has done an excellent job. Our teaching staff has provided quality instruction in a fully virtual environment for over 600 students from a range of locations this year. While most of our students reside within the Greeley Evans district borders, a growing number of students are enrolling from outside our district, proving the further development as a result of the school's success. From my perspective, some of the best learning content has come out of this online method. I feel interested in what I am learning and understand the concepts more than I ever have. I know many of the other students feel the same way. Information is actively being retained rather than just listened to. I feel this is because the lessons are relevant, such as learning about climate change and the factors that are closely tied with it, for example. It is a great accomplishment for students to be actually engaged in their learning in the way that captivates their interests. In fact, our student body came up with the logo and mascot of Navigators this year to signify exploration of many subject areas in an online environment. On top of this, we have been able to establish a student culture in which interaction is encouraged. We have an in-person dance for all of our high school students coming up on the 14th, as well as a field day for the elementary students on the 13th, where they have the option to join in person at the Boys and Girls Club or virtually with classmates from home. Events like these are crucial in a fully virtual environment. And I believe that we have captured the significance of social connection, not only in these ways, but in the ways of daily learning as well. In terms of areas of growth, some suggestions that were discussed included improving collaboration within grade levels, banding grades together in order to facilitate greater communication in a K-12 school, utilizing greater support in the classroom with more training for intervention and enrichment, and to structure small groups for the building of life skills. Plans for such improvements have already been established, and after having the experience of this first year, the 22-23 school year for District 6 Online Academy is looking bright. Thank you all for this excellent opportunity to speak about my school and to represent it in such a positive way. We would like to thank you for your service to our school community by serving on the board of directors and present you with a little gift to remember the D6 Online Academy. Thank you.
Thank you, Regan. Do we have any comments or questions for Regan while she's making the rounds? Thank you. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So Regan, if you'll...
I'd like to say while she's passing those out, we have Ms. Sheila Bowman who is here, who is our principal, so thank you for attending. And then also just to let you know that she'll also be co-sponsoring the Council of Student Reps for next year. So thank you, Sheila, for helping out.
Yes, thank you. And Regan, we have a couple of questions or comments. Ms. Mash?
I just wanted to thank you so much for coming, and we can't come to visit your school, so it's so great to hear what your experience has been and how you've been innovating and leading the way. And I love stickers. It's going to go right on here. So thank you so much for coming, and enjoy your last couple weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mash. Ms. Mueller?
So Regan, I did have one question. I am intrigued. In the years before Zoom and the pandemic made everything go remote, we probably thought it was very mysterious to do online schooling and what that looked like. How do you structure your day?
I go off of a schedule. Everything's basically planned out for me ahead of time. I get my passing periods. I basically have that schedule incorporated for me. I don't really have to do much of the work, but I do get a little more, compared to in-person school, I get a lot more freedom in online, as I get to basically, it's a relaxing environment compared to a school environment.
Great, thank you. So every day is pajama day?
Not quite, no. But
thank you for sharing, and we really appreciate you being here and telling us more about what you're doing in your school, the things you're learning, and how this is a very good, viable option for students in the district.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mueller. Mr. Bentley?
I just want to say thanks and good job staying dedicated and doing that at home. I know that's probably not easy all the time, but I think that just the online academy kind of embodies the COVID spirit and the choice, for the parents to choose how their kids learn and where they learn and the safety needed per person. And I think it's just really tremendous to see it working and to see the fruits of all of that come into fruition and see you here smiling and we appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, I think that's all the comments and questions. Thank you so much, Regan. It was nice to see you, and thanks to all involved.
Thank you.
Our next special recognition is Project Teacher Find. Dr. Pelch.
I'm going to introduce to you Mrs. Overton, our Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, who will introduce our honoree for Project Teacher Find.
Good evening, board members and Dr. Pilch and Vice President Pappas. I'm pleased to present to you our Project Teacher Find Scholarship recipient tonight. Project Teacher Find is a collaborative, grow your own effort between UNC and District 6 to identify and recruit promising teachers from high school students. This partnership was established in 1988. The scholarship provides funding each year to future District 6 teacher candidates. High school students are recommended by their counselors, and applications are screened by a scholarship committee composed of District 6 and UNC faculty and chaired by an HR director, Amy Honstein. Candidates must maintain at least a 2.75 GPA in order to be eligible for continued support. Project Teacher Find is a part of our teacher pipeline process and Innovation 2030. Operational and organizational effectiveness, objective 1, develop and implement a recruiting plan that builds a qualified and diverse workforce that is representative of District 6 community. This year, we had 5 candidates of color who applied for this scholarship. The committee has selected Nayseth Hernandez as our scholarship winner this year. She has worked hard through high school and will give just as much effort in college. We look forward to her shaping the lives of District 6 students in the future. She has earned a 4-year scholarship in the amount of $2,500 annually, pending funding from the University of Northern Colorado. Nayseth is a first-generation college student. She has a passion about cultural, linguistically diverse populations and second language learners. This is exciting for District 6 because we're always looking for teachers who are interested and excited about working with our students. She is guaranteed her practicum and student placement here in District 6 when she is ready to do this work. Human Resources will work with her on resume building, on application assistance, and mock interviews as needed. Nayseth Hernandez is a senior currently attending Greeley Central High School. She was born and raised here in Greeley, Colorado. What makes Nayseth so special is that she is a caring and compassionate person. Growing up, she always had a passion for school, and now she's on her way to pursuing her dream of becoming an elementary school teacher at University of Northern Colorado. Nayseth is so excited to be teaching in class filled with kids ready to learn and grow as individuals. She wants to teach her students the importance of education. She constantly faces challenges that allow her to learn and be a better version of herself. She is involved at school, whether it's tutoring, doing community service, joining clubs, because she likes helping others as much as possible. We want to thank her parents who always believe in her and gave her long-lasting advice that will help her in the future. She wants to do the same for others. She wants to inspire students that anything is possible if they put their mind to it, just like she did. And I would like to invite Ms. Pappas to come over and give her the certificate.
Well, thank you, Ms. Overton, and thank you, Nayseth, and thank you, Nayseth's parents and teachers and everybody that participated in this journey of hers. And we are so, so excited to have you coming back to our district and teaching. So thank you so much and congratulations. And now we have another special recognition. Brentwood Middle School apparently is a Colorado school to watch. Dr. Pilch.
Thank you, Ms. Pappas, and as a former middle school principal, you and I both know what a big deal this is.
This is a big deal, yes.
So we're very excited to have the Brentwood team coming forward and Mr. Osmus, our Assistant Superintendent of Secondary, to do this recognition. Thank you.
It's a great day to be a Bengal.
Yes.
Well, it is my absolute honor to recognize Brentwood Middle School on the recent recognition. In an assembly this last Friday, the Colorado Schools to Watch Committee recognized Brentwood Middle School as a 2022 Colorado Trailblazer School to Watch. Selection is based on a written application that requires schools to show how they met rigorous requirements of the award. The Schools to Watch team observed classrooms for rigorous instructional practices, interviewed administrators, teachers, and parents, reviewed achievement data, suspension rates, and student work. Schools are recognized for a 3-year period, and at the end of 3 years, they must repeat the process in order to be redesignated. This is Brentwood's 2nd consecutive Schools to Watch Award, and this is a big deal. Brentwood will also be honored at the National Schools to Watch Conference on June 23rd in Washington, D.C. District 6 is very proud of our Bengal students, parents, staff, and administrators. I've invited Principal Nicole Peterson to say a few words about this honor and answer any questions you might have.
Good evening. We really are honored to be identified as a Colorado Trailblazer School to Watch, but not even so much for the recognition, but for the opportunity to share some of the great things happening at Brentwood Middle School and in our entire district. We are one of 4 middle schools in Colorado to receive this honor this year, along with Basalt Middle School, Flagstaff Academy, and Preston Middle School. The National Forum to Accelerate Middle Grades Reform identifies high-performing schools as measured by 4 different domains. And so those are academic excellence, developmental responsiveness, social equity, and organizational structure and processes. And so as a school to watch, we have an obligation and a responsibility to work with other schools across the state. We have teachers present at the annual CAMEL conference and host some breakout sessions. And then we also are hosting teachers just to come and check out the things that are happening in our school. So right after our visit, I think we were called immediately. Carmen Bustillos was Educator of the Year for the Success Foundation this year. And I think she had 3 teachers right away coming in to help support them as well. So it was really cool during our site visit because we had other principals and district level administrators from outside of District 6 come and walk through our school and just walk away with tons of awesome ideas they could implement immediately. And they really identified the overwhelming sense of belonging that we have. And one of the principals from Sunset Middle School, Anthony Burrell is his name, and he said, if I lived in Greeley, my kid would go to school here, no questions asked. So ultimately, we know that while our school is being recognized today, it is because of the amazing opportunities, learning experiences, and support that we have from all of you and from our district level leadership. So thank you for all that you do and making this possible for us. And these are just some pretty awesome people from Brentwood, so we brought them.
The other awesome people. Thank you so much. Ms. Mueller.
So as the parent of a former Bengal, I am not at all surprised by this honor. In fact, I think it's well deserved, and I congratulate you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mueller. Yes, it is a testament to the entire district, but it is truly a testament of the work that you do at Brentwood. And we appreciate you, we appreciate your teachers, we appreciate your students and your families. And thank you for taking time tonight to come share this awesome award with us. So have a great night. Thank you. And next on our agenda is the Greeley Education Association Starfish Award. Ms. Lee.
Hello, everyone. As always, it's a privilege and a pleasure to share this, and it's especially fun because Tiffany's being honored tonight. Tiffany is not only part of the Brentwood Bengals, but she also serves West and ECA, Early College Academy, and that was the class that I was able to hang out with her in. And it was fascinating because Tiffany takes these youngsters from 6th grade who have potential and desires and dreams and works with them all the way through 12th grade in the Gifted and Talented program. And her job is very, very, very unusual, difficult, and individualized. Kind of what we advocate for in District 6 is individualization. So Tiffany learns her students, she learns her students' needs, and then she crafts options and opportunities. Whether it's somebody who comes into her as a 9th grader saying, this is my plan, this is what I want to do, I have a problem getting there, and Tiffany will help that individual work through those obstacles and work through that plan so she can graduate to the college of her choice. Or last week, she had a young man who said, I haven't really done anything yet. I'm a senior, but I want to go to college. And she works that young individual through that conversation and successfully gets him on that way to that path. But Tiffany's a pretty amazing lady. And I didn't really get to see a class, but what I saw were a variety of students coming into her office, and I discovered Wordle, and I discovered chess, and I discovered conversations that were so incredibly in-depth that I was thinking, I better keep my mouth quiet because I really don't know what they're talking about. But isn't that exciting that we have students in our district that are so incredibly in-depth thinkers that they can switch from topic to topic like this? And I think it's super excited that Tiffany and every single teacher and every gifted and talented teacher in our district can work with these students and accelerate them as needed and give them that individualization that they deserve. So if we ever wondered if GT is an important part of our curriculum, let me just say, after having watched some of the students that Tiffany works with, hands down, it is critical. And I learned a very important lesson from Tiffany, and I'm going to go ahead and share this because this is our last Starfish Award of the year. But about 30 seconds before I was working, I broke the glass. And about 3 years ago, I would have had a meltdown and, wouldn't know what to do. But one of the things that Tiffany always told her students is improvise, and what do you need to have happen? The important thing is honoring Tiffany. The important thing is sharing the good work that she's doing, not the fact that we have a little cracked glass. So I'm giving her a not quite perfect presentation, but I will show up with a real glass frame soon.
It's okay.
But anyway, I present Tiffany to you, and gosh, what a gem that we have in our district.
Thank you.
Yes, the important thing is honoring you, Tiffany. Mr. Bentley.
Gifts and talented, I got thrown into that when I first came here. My son qualified for it, and it was something that they didn't have where I came from Utah. So I really, I think it's pretty admirable and exciting for our district. And thank you for all that you do. And also, Andy, it's your last Starfish Award, not just the Starfish Award of the last one of the year. So we want to say thank you to you and happy retirement.
Yes, thank you. We have enjoyed the Starfish Awards, and we do appreciate all you do for our students, Tiffany, and our community. So thank you both very, very much.
You're welcome.
And we are not done with special recognitions. We get to recognize our School Nutrition Association Southwest Region Director of the Year, Dr. Pilch.
Thank you, Mrs. Pappas. It truly is my honor to introduce to you all Danielle Bach, our Director of Nutrition Services here in the Greeley-Evans District 6. Last week, Danielle learned in an online meeting, I think that's when she learned it, that she was the Southwest Regional Director of the Year, recognized by the National School Nutrition Association. And so this is, again, this is just really a really big deal. This is the national organization saying, this is a standout in the region. She is a standout, and she deserves that recognition. And I know that you all are aware of Danielle's work, but I want to just talk a little bit about it. I'm going to start with when she first took over this position. She's like working with a ball of fire. Lots of ideas all the time on how to improve the department. But what that has meant for this department is a very committed, dedicated staff who feel honored and valued, who are provided with professional development. Do you want to come up here while I talk about you?
Yes, come up, Danielle.
Come on up, Danielle, while I talk about you. That's great. Come on up. But she has valued her employees in a way that I've never seen a nutrition services director value their employees, and has listened to them. And I will tell you, during the pandemic, she served on our stop crying. You're gonna make me Danielle served on our crisis response team during the pandemic. And in one of our meetings, she said to the group, we were on Zoom, I'm sure, because we were in a pandemic. She said to the group that her colleagues in other districts have said to her, how did you get a seat at that table? How do you get to have a voice in that room around planning for this emergency? And I'll tell you how she got a seat at that table. She is brilliant. She is creative. She is a a problem solver like the kids that were being taught that Andy just observed. And so not only was Danielle there to represent the Nutrition Services Department and to make sure that we were feeding our children at a very critical time in our community and figuring out ways to operationalize her staff and work with transportation to get food into neighborhoods and food out into our community, she was also helping us solve the other problems we had to solve. Because of her brilliance, she was able to help advise us on things that no one else was thinking of in the room, and it didn't necessarily have to do with nutrition services or making sure that children were fed. And that is the testament of a true leader, and those are the kind of leaders that we hire here in District 6, leaders that can lead in a multitude of situations regardless of what is thrown at them. And Danielle's leadership extends well beyond District 6. She is a known leader at the state level and the national level. Teresa and I were in Washington, D.C. For a conference that I had asked to be a part of. And here we are, and there's Danielle, because she was out there lobbying for school nutrition in this country. And she does that on the side in all of her free time. But she really has changed policy. Not only at the state level, but at the federal level when it comes to feeding children. And that has had an impact throughout this nation. And for that, we should all feel honored to work with her. The last thing I want to add is that her reach goes into lots of areas of our local community. Her partnership with the World Food Bank, her work with our Success Foundation to bring additional dollars in to take care of meal debt has been life-changing, really, for families. And you are District 6, and you are one of our stars. Thank you for being here tonight. And I want to give you a chance. I thank all of you in the audience for coming to support Danielle tonight. Thank you for that. Isn't it fun to have an audience?
We're hiring. Thank you, Dr. Pilch. I want to first thank you and Megan Sponsler for taking a chance on me 5 years ago. I didn't have all of the necessary K-12 credentials, maybe, to fill this role, but the two of you decided to give me a shot, and I'm every single day grateful because I love my job and I love District 6. I love having the opportunity to work with an amazing group of people. A few of my team are here tonight, and they know that I wouldn't have this opportunity to be Southwest Regional Director of the Year or have any of those nice things said about me if they weren't so dedicated to our work. The team is incredible. And so for everybody watching at home and for those of you in the audience here, school meals matter. What we do, we make sure those kids are ready to learn every single day. And I have a team of over 150 amazing school nutrition professionals. They may just look like lunch ladies and maybe 2 or 3 lunch dudes out there to our students, but they're supporting the core mission of District 6 because they care about ensuring our future in Greeley and Evans. So thank you again for this opportunity, and thank you for the seat at the table. I still revel with some of my peers sometimes that over the last 2 years we did all that we did. I am very, very thankful for those opportunities and for all of you and your support of our program. Not all school districts get the opportunity to feed every kid at every chance that they get, and we do. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you, Danielle. We do have several people that would like to say something. Ms. Mueller.
Well, I had the privilege of meeting you, Danielle, on one of those feeding opportunities when the World Food Bank was out and lining up over at Nutrition Services and putting food in cars, and you had that whole system down pat. We were gloved up, we were masked up, and it was actually so impressive to see because we left every family that came through that line with dignity and honor, and we fed their kids. And that's due to you and your staff, so you're gonna make me cry now because it is a heart for this community that I saw. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mueller. Ms. Smash.
I just want to say it's been a privilege to get to work with you on the Student Wellness Committee, and I just feel like I learn so much every time I get to attend that. So many different innovative ways to engage the kids in nutrition and their health. And my kids love to eat school lunch. They eat it every single day. And I'll be like, oh, the menu is, garlic knot pull apart. And they're like, that's my favorite. So they're really, really good, delicious, not just, nutritious and delicious anyway. And then also I just appreciated you helping with our listening sessions, and we had, a lot of high emotions in our group, and you just handled it with such grace and empathy. And so I'm so glad you're here. Congratulations.
Thank you, Ms. Smash. Ms. Sullivan.
Sitting up here on the board, we talk about the education and we focus on the learning environment of the kids, but we don't always remember to recognize what your job is, and the fact that you keep our kids, the health and wealth behind them. Without you, they wouldn't be learning. So your accolades, that is so impressive, everything you do. So I appreciate everything you brought. Congratulations. Thank you. Job well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sullivan. Mr. Bentley.
I just like to say, at first, got to meet you at the listening session, like Natalie said, and the thing that struck me the most was your passion, that the way that you almost were campaigning for your services and what you do about, I think you said that 90% from scratch, I think, if I remember right, and not processed. And I think you got the seat at the table because of that, and I think that COVID and the pandemic shined a light, maybe, or needs a light, or a brighter light shined on the fact that we could start with nutrition and keep people healthier and our immune systems up, and then just all the ways that it helps learning. It's a giant deal, and it's kind of the foundation, and to obviously have such a wonderful foundation and nationally accredited, and just you doing such a good job is going to pay dividends that we can't even calculate. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts. You're doing a great job.
Thank you, Mr. Bentley. So we love you, Danielle. Can you tell? Yes. So I too got to participate in one of the food drives with the Weld County Food Bank, and like Pepper, I was so amazed at how smoothly it ran and how much fun it was. But more importantly, it was just you were there. You were up on that truck throwing food down. It's like, this is such a fun thing, but also such a needed thing in our community. And so we appreciate you and wish you the best rest of the year, and thank you for all you do.
Thank you. Hey, Jace.
And some people might want to leave, but before you do, don't leave quite yet. We are going into our next area of public participation, but could we just please give another round of applause for all the people that got recognized tonight? This has been awesome. Thank you all for coming, and you're welcome to stay. We are moving into our public participation. The board welcomes the comments of community members and has dedicated a portion of each business meeting agenda to provide an opportunity for the community to present brief comments to the board. The board typically does not engage in discussion or provide an immediate response to the input, but will ask district staff to respond as appropriate. Written testimony or speaker handouts must be submitted to Amy Lemon, the board secretary, not to individual board members. The board is committed to providing a safe environment where all members of the school community are treated with dignity and respect, and expect all teachers to exercise their speech rights responsibly. I believe we have one person speaking tonight, and that is Cassie Guy.
Thank you, Dr. Pilch and Board of Education. I just felt really compelled to come and share with you all my experience that I have had recently with our elementary literacy adoption. I have had the honor of working in District 6 for over 15 years. I student taught here and I will never leave. And just wanted to share with you that this is my second literacy adoption that I have now participated in, and this has just, I promised myself I wouldn't cry, but I'm so incredibly proud of the work that we have done here in District 6 with this literacy adoption. We've worked really hard. We had an incredible team of educators and professionals that participated in this literacy adoption, and I got to be a part of that. As the elementary CLD coordinator here in District 6, my focus was a lot on academic discourse, collaboration, and equity and access for our students to grade level content. And so as I went forward and we really vetted these curriculums and really looked at them, that was my focus. My intention was, how will our students learning English? How will our students accessing special ed? How will our students really be able to learn and have a quality literacy education through these different curriculum that we vetted? And the one that we are putting forth today as a recommendation, I'm incredibly proud of. I think that this is one that I 100% back and I believe in. It is founded in universal design for learning, which is very different. It's a different way of thinking about education. It's really thinking as we create a curriculum, we are thinking about our students, from our students that need extension, from our students who need that extra support from the very beginning. A lot of the curriculum that we looked at had, here's a book for our students learning English. Here's a separate book to teach kids who are accessing special ed. Here's a separate book for how to extend our students. And this curriculum does not have that. This curriculum is all built into one teacher's manual, and I'm incredibly proud of that. It just shows how far we as a district have really come in understanding instruction for our students. It's not looking at it's differentiation, but it's with all of our students together. It's critical that our students access grade level content in order for our students to grow. If they never access it, they will never grow. And so through this curriculum, I'm incredibly excited for them to be able to present you this tonight, because I think it just speaks to the incredible brain power, the incredible pride, and the incredible hard work and dedication that we have here in District 6 to all of our students. I'm incredibly proud to be a part of District 6 as an administrator, as a parent, and I'm so incredibly proud of the people sitting behind me who are here, of Tammy, of Dagan, of Stacy, of everybody who's worked so incredibly hard on this. So I'm thankful for this opportunity, and I'm very proud to be a part of District 6.
Thank you, Ms. Guy. It is now time for our work session report. Ms. Lemon.
The Board of Education opened the work session with comments and reports from each board member and reviewed upcoming events. Assistant Superintendent of Academic Achievement, Dr. Cece Dattery, presented information on the proposed literacy adoption. Chief Financial Officer Megan Sponsler presented an update on the 2022-2023 budget. Legal Counsel Nathan Fall gave a legislative update. The work session concluded with a discussion regarding community engagement and a debrief of the work session.
Thank you. Dr. Pilch, Superintendent's report.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Pappas. I want to start with, again, recognizing and congratulating all the folks who recognized tonight. I wish we could find a way to identify more project teacher find candidates who we could bring back to District 6. And what an honor for Brentwood Middle School. That really is a huge award for them to have received, and to have received it twice now. And then, of course, for Ms. Bach, she's just truly remarkable. So thank you for indulging us as we had those recognitions tonight. And our last Starfish Award winner and our last Council of Student Representative report. So we're winding down the school year. We are winding down the school year. We're in the final 2 weeks of school here. We will have graduations beginning. Actually, I have my first graduation Friday. Well, we have the transitions graduation ceremony on Thursday evening. And then the first graduation I have is the Ames Community College graduation, where our early college academy students who are completing their associate's degree will have the opportunity to walk at Ames Community College. And then they'll come back the following Friday and walk for their high school diploma for early college academy. So that's very exciting. I wanted to bring up the Innovation 2030 event that we hosted last week and just share that we had over 130 or so people were in attendance there, of community members, staff, teachers and administrators both, as well as other support staff, and most of you were there as well. So thank you for that. It was a really good evening. Lots of information was shared, and we received some really good feedback. So thank you for participating in that event. So We have some folks to introduce to you tonight. I had sent out an email earlier last week about some recommendations for assistant principal candidates, but we do have two of our assistant principals here tonight who are on the consent agenda tonight for approval. So pending your approval, I hope you'll join me in welcoming these two candidates. I want to introduce to you first Amy Beacons, who is our new assistant principal at Franklin Middle School. Amy began her career here in District 6 in 2012, and then she has taught science at Greeley Central High School since 2013, and her combined educational years is 11 years of experience coming into this position. Amy obtained her Bachelor of Science degree from Colorado State University, and she continued her learning by earning a Master's of Arts degree in Curriculum Studies, and now she is currently working on a doctorate of education, focusing on educational leadership and policy studies. So you know that means one day she's probably going to be sitting in this chair. That's what happens when you get a doctorate in educational policy and leadership. Welcome, Amy. Thank you so much for joining the Franklin team. Welcome. And the other candidate who I want to introduce to you tonight is Alexandra Nagel-Smith, and she will, pending your approval, be our new assistant principal at Heath Middle School. Alex, Alex began her career, sorry about that, in District 6 as a math teacher at Prairie Heights Middle School for a total of 6 years. And then she moved over to Heath as the instructional coach, and so she's been the instructional coach there at Heath this year. And with her years at Prairie Heights and at Heath, she has 7 years of experience she brings into the assistant principalship. She obtained her Bachelor of Science degree in mathematics with an emphasis in secondary education and a minor in special education from the University of Northern Colorado. And she has continued her learning by earning a Master's of Arts degree in educational leadership and policy from the University of Northern Colorado as well in 2018. So Alex, welcome and congratulations for being here tonight. Thank you.
Congratulations. Our next item on the agenda is the consent agenda, which will need a motion to approve.
I move that the Board of Education of Greeley Evans School District 6 approves items as presented on the consent agenda and authorizes the officers to sign any and all contracts.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion or questions regarding the consent agenda?
Yeah, I'd like to move.
Okay.
Oh,
That's okay.
you're right.
Go ahead.
I'd like to move to pull 812 McCandless Truck Center from the consent agenda.
Can you repeat which item you're...
8.12.
Okay, so you're requesting to move that out of the consent agenda, and we'll make that a special agenda item. Is there any other comment or question on the consent agenda? All right, we take a vote, Ms. Lemon?
And Director Bentley?
Aye.
Director Mash?
Aye.
Director Mueller?
Aye.
Director Norwood?
Aye.
Director Pappas?
Aye.
Director Sullivan?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. So we are now going to take a motion on the item that Mr. Bentley has put forward.
I move to approve the McCandless Truck Center LLC purchasing authorization as presented.
Second.
Discussion, questions, comments?
Yeah, I just was looking through it, and it just seemed like a lot of money and a grant that I wasn't aware of, and I would just maybe thought that, you know, $1.1 million we should talk about and let everybody know where we got the money and how I'm not even aware of how the purchasing process happens. I assume it said low price, so I assume it's an RFP process and stuff, but just a little more info would be cool.
Great, thank you, Mr. Bentley. I'm going to ask Mr. Henson, Assistant Superintendent of Support Services, and our Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Sponsler, to assist in answering those questions. And thank you for pulling the item. This is really a celebration for us to have the opportunity. So, yep, come on up, Mr. Henson and Ms. Sponsler.
Okay, the grant is the diesel DARA grant. which is a diesel replacement grant that was made available to public schools to basically replace older diesel-powered buses with buses that were newer, up-to-date, met more current EPA standards. So both for air quality and for us, that would affect our miles per gallon, et cetera. Since the MLO passed in 2018, just prior to that, 68% of our buses were aged 2010 or prior. So it was quite an aging fleet. So one of the priorities when the MLO passed was that we would use this funding to replace and upgrade our bus fleet, which we have been doing gradually over the last 4 years, purchasing 47 buses, 12 of which are smaller white activity buses that we give to schools to use for small groups. And we have 9 of those still coming. When this grant became available in the fall, we had to apply in October, and we just got notified in February that it was a savings of $20,000 a bus. So in addition to the McCandless, bid of a bulk bid that we had used the prior year, we were able to piggyback on that to get that pricing, as well as put forward this grant for the $20,000 savings. We probably would have used this 10 bus purchase. We probably would have spread that out over the next couple of years. But with this grant, we felt like using MLO money wisely. If we had a chance to save $200,000, let alone not knowing what the price elevation is going to be over the next 2 years, that we would apply for the grant now. And this purchase will complete and put our fleet in a very good space in terms of being updated, instead of having 68% of your buses being old and some of which were in the 1985s, almost non-repairable. And I would say from a safety standpoint, when buses are made, they have to be upheld to those current safety standards. So if a bus was built in 1985 and you're still using it, its safety standard is only as good as the 85 standards. So we felt like we should take advantage of this opportunity with these 10 buses. And like I said, we feel like, we're probably done. We've upgraded a good percentage of that fleet, and we can get on with something else.
How many buses total in the fleet?
We have approximately, without our small, what you would call our special ed buses, we have about 68 buses, give or take, depending on what's working and not, about 68 buses. So this will bring us to having replaced, about, if I don't count the white fleet, about 47% 47 of those 68 buses within the last, which will be 5 years.
Good. Thank you. I wasn't really aware of how it all worked, but I really appreciate you guys being proactive instead of reactive, as we have the money and taking advantage, because I think everybody's probably in agreement that nothing's going to be getting cheaper for a little while. So thank you guys.
Actually, the prices are going up quite quickly.
Thank you.
We have one more question or comment, Mr. Norwood.
Just a quick question. Typically, how many years or how many miles or how long do you get out of a bus? If you've got some from 1985.
Our fleet runs about 900,000 miles a year. And I would say typically what I was accustomed to was about a 10-year life cycle. Here, before coming to District 6, we had buses in there 30, 35 years running. So, I tell the story, my first year as principal at Greeley Central, a bus pulled up to pick up these kids. It was covered in Bondo and primer and blowing out smoke. It was 1985, which was commissioned the year before I started teaching, and I retired with 31 years before I came here. So that was the oldest bus I had ever seen transporting kids in my career. So we don't have that one anymore, and we don't have a lot like those. We're in a much better place in terms of just our economy, being able to repair buses, our fuel economy, and our safety.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Henson. Any other comments or questions? All right, Ms. Lemon, let's take a vote. Thank
Direct-
you.
Director Bentley?
Aye.
Director Mash?
Aye.
Director Mueller?
Aye.
Director Norwood?
Aye.
Director Pappas?
Aye.
Director Sullivan?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Our next item on the agenda is AP curriculum adoption. Dr. Pilch?
Thank you, Mrs. Pappas, and Dr. Dattery, our assistant superintendent, is making her way to the podium, along with Amanda Krieger, who is our coordinator of our advanced placement courses and International Baccalaureate and AVID, as you all know. So I'm going to pass it to you two ladies to take this presentation.
Thank you. One quick second.
I see a
Amy.
grimace. That makes me think we maybe are having some issue with slides.
I am. Just one quick second. I need you to sign in, Amy. I'm sorry. It logged out. I know. Sorry.
While they're doing that, I'll just share with you that Ms. Krieger has had a very busy day. We are currently having our reevaluation for International Baccalaureate Primary Years program at Dos Rios. And so she's been tied up with that, and I expect it will continue through the week some as we're being reevaluated by International Baccalaureate. So we were on a Zoom call today with people from Dubai and Turkey asking us questions about the International Baccalaureate program.
Thank you. Good evening, Vice President Pappas, Superintendent Pilch, and members of the board. Tonight, we are bringing forward a recommendation from the Advanced Placement Curriculum Adoption Committee and the District Curriculum Council. As mentioned, I am joined this evening by Amanda Krieger. She is our AVID AP and IB coordinator. And along with Mr. Dagan Andrews, he is our Director of Curriculum and Personalized Learning. And we are joined as well by some of our folks from the Curriculum Adoption Committee. This presentation tonight and work will complete actually a 5-year process of updating our AP curricular resources. So in the next few slides, I would just like to share with you the process and the results of the work from the committee this year. So the resources being brought forward to you for consideration this evening include AP Art and Design, AP Art History, AP Music Theory, AP Science, Computer Science A, and AP Computer Science Principles. All of these have been inconsistent across our high schools currently in District 6 in terms of curricular resources. In addition, the landscape of instruction has changed, and in order to successfully prepare students for college and career readiness in a 21st century global society, both traditional and digital components of curricular resources are necessary. Therefore, this year, we are asking the board for approval of materials for these 5 advanced placement courses brought to you this evening. So the purpose of these new textbooks and the digital platforms is actually threefold. First, it will provide updated resources students need to align with the new suite of online classroom supports, including unit guides and exam descriptions that College Board introduced for advanced placement courses in 2019-2020. Additionally, the College Board created the Advanced Placement Equity and Access Policy to promote equitable access to advanced placement courses and encourages the elimination of barriers that restrict access to traditionally underrepresented populations of students. And finally, in order to meet the expectations for the rigor of AP courses, students need explicit instruction that facilitates meaningful discourse by posing rich inquiry questions and promoting productive struggle. These criteria were considered by the AP Curriculum Adoption Committee led by Ms. Amanda Krieger during the curriculum review process so that these new resources would be aligned to the expectations of both College Board and the work of District 6 for these AP courses. So these are our teachers and leaders who served on the AP Curriculum Adoption Committee. We are so grateful to them for the work that they've done and the many hours that they put into this process. This slide contains their names and the roles, and the dialogue between these educators created the conversations that pushed their thinking forward, and it really helped to ensure that the highest quality materials were chosen to best meet the needs of all of our students. So before I share with you the committee's final recommendation of resources, I'm just going to quickly walk you through the process and timeline of their work. So during the initial meeting in November, the committee determined the need for participation in the AP curriculum adoption process and spent time reviewing the AP equity and access policy and the philosophy of access and equity for all students to rigorous courses. They read articles and discussed how this would be incorporated into the resource selection process. Then in December, the committee reviewed the analyzing instructional materials, or what we refer to as the Ames rubric, and discussed the correlation of the rubric specifically to the academic demands of the advanced placement course. They then identified the resources that they would bring forth to review. Dagan Andrews, our director of curriculum, then presented to the committee on the different types of curriculum and how it supported student learning. During this time, the committee reviewed the different resources and utilized the Ames rubric to evaluate them against the criteria. This work continued through February. And in March, they determined 2 to 3 final resources for each of these areas, and the committee members then viewed the vendor presentations in AP Art and Design, in AP Music Theory, AP Computer Science A, and AP Computer Science Principles. Additional materials for AP Art History were also provided by vendors and reviewed. After viewing the presentations and additional vendor-provided materials, the committee members engaged in dialogue and finalized the Ames rubric ratings. After reviewing the final ratings, as well as the feedback that they gained from students, from staff, and family and community on the various resources shared, the committee made a final recommendation to the District Curriculum Council. The council approved the recommendation to advance these resources to you, the Board of Education, that are presented to you in your board packet this evening. The total cost for the AP textbooks, the online resources, and database is $113,343.97. And this was budgeted in the 2021-2022 MLO budget, the mill levy override, in which we are very grateful to our voters once again, so that we are able to do these things for our students. The process for this committee has been rigorous, as evidenced by the materials in your board packet, and they have chosen the most appropriate instructional resources for each of these 5 advanced placement courses. These resources adhere to the criteria set forth by College Board to meet the rigorous expectations of advanced placement courses, and they take into consideration the diversity of our learners. We believe these quality resources will continue to provide a well-rounded educational experience in all of these AP courses. And I want to thank you this evening for allowing me to present the work of Amanda Krieger, the committee, and all of the teachers that provided input into this process. We will answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Ms. Krieger or Ms. Dr. Dattery? Mr. Bentley.
So I've been talking a lot, but I just feel like it. I just want to say thank you guys for doing this, because I think, as far as me, when I kind of building what I want to see the district do, be at the top of the state or the nation as far as curriculum and levels and learning is pretty high on that list. I want to be the shining star of Colorado if we can, and AP classes are one of the best ways, I think, to do that. To rising tide raises all boats. So thank you guys, and appreciate your hard work and all your diligence you guys did on this.
Thank you. Ms. Mesh.
I would just add to that, thank you for all of this work, and I really feel like our AP offerings, our AVID program, our IB, it just all contributes to allowing our students choice and to fulfill their individualized areas of strength and interest. So thank you for making these things available.
Thank you.
Ms. Mueller.
So I do want to say to the committee, thank you for the amount of work that went into this. I think it can't be understated how methodical this process was and how systematic it was. I mean, it's not just looking over a few books or a few curriculum sources and pulling a number out of a hat. Our packet shows numbers of grids that they went through and ratings, and it's amazing to behold truly how educators in one room can really pull apart all of the essentials. And I appreciate all the feedback you also got from students and from families as well, and those ratings are in here as well. So It was well vetted. Obviously, all the different curriculums were very well vetted. So thank you for the time and effort that this took. It's very obvious that you spent numerous hours working on this, and we really appreciate that work.
I would just echo what everyone else has said, and thank you so much, and please share our appreciation with the rest of the committee members and all that participated in this, and thank you for the presentation tonight. And thank you for voters. Oh, Amanda.
I just wanted to honor our representatives who are here from the committee tonight, Rich Green, Christy Hollis, Joel Suarez. I am honored to be able to represent their work and their time and their professionalism, so thank you so much.
Are you staying? Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Amanda. The next item on our agenda is the elementary literacy curriculum adoption, which Dr. Dattery appears to be ready to talk about. Oh, wait. Did we vote on that?
You did not.
That's what I was waiting for. Things were going so well until somebody was long enough. Like, what is going on? We should.
Can we get a motion?
Yes, we need a motion.
I don't know what the motion is,
I
but go ahead.
I move that the Board of Education of Greeley Evans School District 6 approves the adoption of AP curriculum as presented.
Second.
Any comments or questions? All right, let's take a vote.
Director Bentley?
Aye.
Director Mash?
Aye.
Director Mueller?
Aye.
Director Norwood?
Aye.
Director Pappas?
Aye.
Director Sullivan?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Yes, so sorry about that. Thank you. Thank you again. So the next item also needs a motion to approve. May we have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education of Greeley Evans School District 6 approves the adoption of the elementary literacy curriculum as presented.
Second.
Dr. Dattery, would you like to present to us?
Thank you, Vice President Pappas, again, Superintendent Pilch, and members of the board. It is my pleasure to bring to you this evening another recommendation, this time from the Elementary Literacy Adoption Committee. Again, I am joined. This is not ever just one person that can do this, and so I am joined by some pretty amazing people as well for this. First, Miss Tammy Hermans. She is our elementary curriculum coordinator, has done an incredible job pulling all of this together. Also joined with us tonight is Mr. Dagan Andrews, of course, our Director of Curriculum and Instruction. And many of our committee members joined us this evening. Now, I will not be able to say all of their names and remember all of them as I am doing this work, but all of them are represented on here, and cannot thank you enough for all joining us this evening. You're amazing, and we thank you. So I want to again share, and alongside Miss Hermans, these slides that will share with you the process and the results of their work to you this evening. So in order to support our teachers to ensure high levels of literacy achievement with their students, a new elementary literacy resource is needed. It has been actually 7 years since our last adoption, and since that time, the Colorado READ Act has updated their requirements to include the science of reading. Teachers realize the importance of having a resource that will not only teach students how to read, but will also teach them how to comprehend at a high level, allowing them to collaborate and engage in academic discourse with their peers. Teachers want students to have access to authentic text and to be able to look at text from a variety of perspectives. And our teachers are looking for support for students to access grade level content, as Ms. Cassie Guy shared earlier, as well as to meet their needs in a variety of ways. So these slides list the elementary committee members, many of whom are with us this evening. They have learned together, they have shared ideas, they've pushed each other in their thinking, they've evaluated resources, and have chosen what we feel is the very highest quality resource to best meet the needs of all of our students in District 6. So they're listed on this slide. Again, as I mentioned, there are 50 members that participated in this process. Pretty incredible work and time intense. But before I share with you the final recommendation of this committee, I would like to again walk you through the process and the timeline of this Curriculum Adoption Committee's work in determining the recommendation that we brought forward. So during the month of October, this committee began their work back in October. The committee shared their greatest hopes and their most pressing concerns regarding student learning in elementary literacy. They created a common vision statement by looking at current research in literacy instruction, including our district's best practices in literacy, Scarborough's Rope and Science of Reading, and the Pepper course, which I referred to earlier this evening, that is from the Colorado Department of Education, that is required actually for all primary teachers to ensure that they know this on evidence-based reading. They reviewed the Ames rubric, which is is used to evaluate curricular resources, and then they reviewed the Reading League's curriculum evaluation tool, which evaluates resources specifically on K-5 literacy skills. So during the month of November, the committee continued to build their knowledge around the latest research in literacy using the 3 shifts from the Colorado Academic Standards and reviewed the literacy anchor standards. They used the Ames rubric to evaluate Wonders, which is our current resource used in District 6, in order to calibrate their findings and finalize the criteria within the Ames rubric. In December, the committee finalized their philosophy statement. This guided their work through the rest of this committee's adoption process. And they also revised the Reading League's curriculum evaluation tool, adding critical components to the rubric that they wanted to make sure they saw in a high-quality literacy resource. In January and in February, the committee evaluated the resources using the Ames rubric and then narrowed to the top 4 resources. They took those 4 resources and planned for pilots using so that they could compare and evaluate the support for teachers, the student experience, and the tools that were available within each resource. During March, the teachers piloted each of the 4 resources, and as the committee debriefed the pilots, it was determined that actually only 3 of those resources should actually move to the next level, which was the presentations from the vendors and the publishers. Each school in our district then sent 5 people to the publisher presentations to allow for more of our district staff to engage in this process and hear about the resources being reviewed, and ultimately provide feedback on those resources, which then we use to revise the rubric and get further data about these resources. After the presentations, members of the committee wanted additional information about the foundational literacy components of the resources, especially from 2 K-5 resources. So we invited those 2 publishers back for a question and answer session to gather more information, and scores were very close from the evaluation rubrics. So the committee used a consensus model process to come to a decision in which resource they would recommend moving forward. That recommendation was presented to the District Curriculum Council. The recommendation brought forth to you tonight is for EL education from Imagine Learning. Teachers on the adoption committee believe that this is the best resource for our students based on the evidence gathered. EL education is a comprehensive English language arts program, which means it includes reading, writing, spelling, and handwriting. We believe that this program will not only teach our students how to read, focusing on the science of reading, but will also provide them relevant content to engage in academic discourse with their peers. As teachers piloted this program, they saw their students engaging in rich discussions and age-appropriate activities that demonstrated deep learning. So with this new literacy adoption, we are proposing a 2-year implementation plan. This adoption comes after only 1 year of implementing our new mathematics resource. And so taking 2 years to implement will give our teachers additional time to learn the math resource before having to use this new literacy resource at the same time. So in the first year of implementation, we will include all of our kindergarten teachers for consistency of instruction as they enter into their schooling years, as well as our new Toynton Academy of Pre-Engineering, which will open in the fall of 2022. Additionally, teacher teams who have self-selected from across the district will implement in year 1, and that is 3 teams from across the district at each grade level. They will join our instructional coaches and our building administrators to form a cadre who will deeply learn this new literacy curriculum of EL education and will then be leaders in training the rest of our teachers in the second year of implementation. So the cost for this literacy adoption is $3,558,046.35. And this is for grades kindergarten through 5th grade and for a full 7 years. This includes everything in the program, teacher's manuals, student books, digital licenses as well for the 7 years, required and recommended trade books, and professional development. Professional development, it will include 5 days of on-site learning. It'll include strategic planning with a partner success manager from EL Education, learning walks with trainers to evaluate our implementation and be successful with that in our classrooms, and also access to asynchronous professional development in which teachers can do on their own time at their own pace. So this was also funded in the mill levy override, which again, we can't thank our voters enough for passing this much needed funding. So again, I just want to thank you, and I want to again thank you, Ms. Tammy, for all of your leadership, the tireless and countless number of hours that you put into knowing not only all of these resources, but what is really necessary for quality, high quality literacy implementation. And again, to thank all of our curriculum committee members for not only the hours that they put in getting to this point, but then again coming tonight. So thank you all. We can take any questions you may have.
Great. Questions or comments? Ms. Mash.
Thank you so much for the report. Thank you for all the work that went into this. I just wanted to, you may have said it specifically, but just call out that this team reviewed not only the Colorado standards, but the evidence-based practice. All of our teachers are proficient in this evidence-based literacy course. So I just feel really confident that this is what is best for our students. It's also hopefully what is best for the teachers, that's going to give you the best tools, that's going to make it the most efficient, the most just rewarding for everyone involved. I really like that it's K-5 as opposed to some of our other tools that were K-2 and maybe some piecemeal. So I hope that it sounds like it will be just really comprehensive, easy to use, and what's best for our students. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Mash. So we did have the opportunity to get a preview of the literacy proposal during our work sessions. So I think that's part of the reason we feel like we just know everything right now. But I will say that as Ms. Mueller mentioned earlier, we understand that this is an intensive process and appreciate all the hard work and also the input from so many people. The fact that so many of your committee members are here tonight is greatly appreciated. And maybe if we can't name them, we can have them stand up.
I think that would be fabulous.
Yes, thank you so much. So again, we appreciate it. We are excited about this. And of course, we do want to thank our voters again for passing an MLO. As with the other curriculum, we couldn't do this without that additional money. So unless there are any other questions or comments, I think we're ready for a vote.
Director Bentley?
Aye.
Director Mash?
Aye.
Director Mueller?
Aye.
Director Norwood?
Aye.
Director Pappas?
Aye.
Director Sullivan?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is a DAC, District Accountability Committee budget recommendation. It looks like we have our president here to present. Dr. Pilch, do you have anything to add?
Thank you, Mrs. Pappas. I will just add that this is a part of state law, that we have a District Accountability Committee, and that the District Accountability Committee reviews every year kind of what we've been spending our dollars on and works as a team to identify priorities for considering future budget expenditures. So we're so grateful to Dr. Dattery for leading this, and it looks like she's got her chair with her as well. So I'll let you all take the presentation from here. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Pilch. As you mentioned, this is one of the District Accountability Committee's responsibilities, which is to make a recommendation to all of you, the local school board, regarding the spending of district funds. And in preparation for making this recommendation to you all this evening, our District Accountability Committee members have worked on the District Unified Improvement Plan, as well as learning more about Innovation 2030 and asking questions and just learning more deeply about the work of District 6. Additionally, they have gained a deeper understanding of our priorities as a district and the challenges through the discussions during our superintendent's forum that is held at each one of our meetings. Here with me this evening is our Vice Chairperson, Devin Moses, and he is actually going to present the top recommended budget priorities from our District Accountability Committee meeting. So thank you, Devin.
Thank you. Before I get started, I just wanted to thank all of the board members who are here tonight, all of our district administrators, all of our educators, and all of our administrators who are here. It's being in the district for 20 years. It's just neat to see so many faces that I know, whether it's been from an educator standpoint of having some of your students in the room and from being a colleague of some of you. So I really appreciate it. After spending a considerable amount of time learning throughout the year and then discussing these areas of focus at the last meeting, the DAC made recommendations regarding the budget for next year. The committee ranked their priorities on a scale of 4 to 1, with 4 being a low priority and 1 being a high priority. The total response scores were tallied to gain an overall prioritization, with the highest priority score possible being 11. The highest recommended priority for DAC was to maintain the staffing ratio to keep class sizes from increasing, which received 23 points. The next 3 priority items are parent and family advocates in each elementary, K-8, and middle school, credit recovery specialists, and social workers available for each school building. Additional recommendations that were made from DAC include: consider reading specialists for grades K through 3, consider the need for additional mental health professionals, and considering the staffing ratio being a priority subsequently to support attendance, improvement, and performance. These are also listed in the board handout, as well as a few additional comments. While we understand this is just one piece of the budget process, we hope that you will consider our recommendations as representatives from all the schools across our district. We have become familiar with the budget process we work within, and we believe these priorities will further support our teachers and students to be successful. Thank you for your time this evening. And before I go, one thing that I really want to share with you was a message that I took to heart a couple years ago from a DAC meeting, when a parent said, "I've had students in multiple schools in District 6, and in Greeley 6, there's a school for every student." And I really appreciate that our community does that. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. You may have some questions.
Don't sneak away.
Any questions or comments? Ms. Mash?
Thank you for serving on the committee, and as evidenced by some of the other processes we've gone through today, having a number of passionate and caring voices in the room comes up with the best ideas. So I thank you very much for just being a part of that, and thank you for these recommendations. I'm excited that they align well with some of the things we are doing and things we plan to do. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Ms. Mueller?
I want to say thank you and pass that along to all of the parents that serve on DAC. I really appreciate their input. They are definitely the ears to what's happening from the student's perspective in schools, and I appreciate that. I also like that you added some additional recommendations, which may be recommendations that aren't doable, but it's still really nice questions to consider, whether it's worth doing, whether we have it's feasible and we have the money to do those things. So I appreciate you adding those additional recommendations in there for us to consider.
Thank you.
Thank you. I too want to thank you, and just the thoughtfulness that goes behind the recommendations that you sent forward to us tonight and in the packet. I want to thank all the members of DAC and Dr. Dattery for being part of this process. We really couldn't do this work without your input, so I appreciate that. We will be looking at the budget at the meeting in June, so we have plenty of time to look at your recommendations and make sure that what can work into that will. So thank you again for being here tonight.
All right, thank you.
All right, we are at the last item on our agenda, and it does require a vote, so we need a motion.
I move that the Board of Education of Greeley Evans School District 6 approves the memorandums of understanding to be incorporated into the 2022-2023 District 6 Certified Staff Master Contract Agreement as presented.
Second.
Thank you both. Dr. Pilch?
Well, thank you, Mrs. Pappas. I'm very excited to present this item tonight. I just want to say before the ladies share the information that they've come with, that we are here tonight with this proposal for compensation because of the work we have done with consensus and shared decision making in this district over the past 7 years. And you heard tonight that the literacy team used the consensus process to reach an agreement around the literacy curriculum to be adopted. I know that in the DAC meetings, the consensus structures are often used to really listen and hear from parents in that group as well as from staff. And so I just think it's important to remind everyone kind of how we got here, to where we're able to be here in May, presenting you with a compensation package. And 7 years ago, we still did not have a contract agreement when I started on July 1 of 2015. So we have come a long way because of the consensus work. And I'm just so proud of our staff and of you all who have embraced that and taken that work on. And Assistant Superintendent Annette Overton is here at the podium, and with her is her colleague and friend, Andy Katinsky, that was a former life, Andy Lee, who is the Greeley Education Association president. And they would like to share with you the recommendation tonight for compensation. And their recommendation is for compensation for teachers, but it does impact the entire district. So
It does.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. It's my pleasure, and I know Andy's pleasure, to be here tonight to talk about the work that we have done to get us to a compensation package and to do all of the memorandums of understanding in the contract that we will incorporate into the contract this year. So for July 1, we're excited about this work. We talk all the time about this work. So we're going to just share a few little things with you tonight, and we'll get started. So the objective tonight is to talk about the contract, and it indicates that we will address a salary schedule and compensation every year between GEA representation and the district administration. Key items reviewed through our benefits and compensation in this committee. This year, negotiations took place as the first part of February, and the Compensation Committee met several times throughout the spring. Our partnership with the Teachers Association is critical and supports our retention of certified employees. Our commitment to collaboration provides us a great opportunity to create a workforce environment that values employees, supports a sense of belonging, and supports community. Adjustments that we're incorporating into the contract include committee changes or sunsets that might impact on the two benefits and salary committees that you see here. The Compensation Committee has a broader charge and will now address benefits and salary information annually. Committee members agreed to provide oversight, evaluate, address concerns, and study and develop recommendations as necessary for employee benefits. The committee will convene at the direction of the negotiations team. We also recognize our horizontal advancement process annually. This year, we fine-tuned our submission dates to make it more consistent and add flexibility for teachers who are following the process to increase their salaries. We also changed the number of education hours that a teacher may save for salary advancement which encourages staff to continue their learning after their master's degree. The term employee, the definition of employee in the master contract will now include language that refers to all licensed, non-administrative personnel, specialized service providers that are identified by the Colorado Department of Education. Those key categories of employees include, and this will be listed in the master contract, audiologists, nurses, occupational therapists, orientation or mobility specialist, physical therapist, school counselor, school psychologist, school social workers, and speech-language pathologists. Key contract adjustments here that we talked about, our committee reviewed the curriculum rate this spring and proposed that it increase from $27 to $30. We decided that class coverage and curriculum rates should be at two different rates. Class coverage and class compaction are the two ways teachers cover classes when there's a lack of subs in their building. We propose class coverage to be $40 per hour when a teacher gives up their prep time to cover a classroom. Class compaction is when a class is divided into smaller groups of students and another teacher takes on those few students to their classroom for the day. Could be an hour, could be half a day, could be a whole day. We propose $40 a day for class compaction. When reviewing the soccer placement on the co-curricular salary schedule, we looked at the number of students, the length of the season, and the amount of time coaching for this sport, and we increased the placement on the co-curricular schedule to make it more comparable with other sports of that caliber.
Continuing with our proposal, we are actually doing it in a holistic manner. So a lot of people, when they look at a salary increase, they just look at percent to the base or the raise. But our school district realizes that consistent and steady movement through the salary schedule is just as important as a traditional raise. So we are proposing that we have normal salaries movement on the salary schedule, meaning if you are eligible or if an employee is eligible, they can move both vertically through experience or horizontally through obtaining additional credits and education and meeting the horizontal criteria. The other thing that is very important and critical to maintain the competitiveness in our region is to increase our overall salary structure. And we're proposing a 4% increase, which every employee on the certified salary schedule will obtain, whether or not you are a beginning teacher or a veteran teacher. So that 4% will be going on to every cell. That will allow us to do a starting salary of $42,475, which is competitive in our region. And we know for attraction and retention, it's really critical with all the great work that we're doing that we remain competitive in a salary and compensation arena as well. The district has also agreed to absorb an 8% increase in insurance. And we will be covering the increased cost of health insurance for the base level plan. This maintains that the district will contribute the full monthly individual premium on behalf of each full-time contracted employee enrolled in the district's lowest level health and dental plans approved by the Board of Education. That's also really critical in a compensation arena because the money may be good, but if you're paying everything for your health insurance, that just diminishes your spending power. Our next steps after we agreed to this compensation package, it went to my membership for a vote, and we proposed, we had an all-member meeting. We opened the voting, and I'm pleased to say that on May 5th, we closed the vote, and it was an overwhelming yes vote. It's a privilege to be able to present this to you and be wrapping this up. So I'm pretty excited. I'm going to turn it back over to Annette.
Thank you, Andy. So the next slide shows here that it's the new certified salary schedule. You'll see, I know it's very small to see, but that first cell you'll see $42,475. Our committee is committed to maintaining a competitive salary that keeps us in the forefront of Northern Colorado competition so that we retain the best teachers and staff. So that's our presentation about the things that we're discussing and making, proposing to you for the master contract this year.
And we're asking for a yes vote.
Thank you both. I'm guessing we'll have some comments and questions. Mr. Bentley?
Yeah, mostly just comments. I think I can unanimously say that we're all under the opinion that teachers and staff and faculty need paid more. The crazy times we're living in, fuel costs, housing costs, groceries, it all affects us all the same. And you guys, my short time here so far, the one thing I noticed in the schools is you guys without a doubt, could probably go make more somewhere else. But in my opinion, the majority of you teachers and staff and custodians and the food workers and across the board, you guys are here because you love children. And I think that the children are undoubtedly and undeniably our greatest asset. And if there was ever a place to invest as much money as possible, that this is the place for sure. And it all starts with you guys. We have to have you here. So as we've seen in our work session, though, we are limited to funds that the state gives us. And I think we ended up with a negative $400,000 deficit from Ms. Sponsler's presentation. And so, like, I think that you guys know we're doing everything we can, and you know, happy that we can do this. Wish it was more, and thank you guys for everything you do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bentley. Anybody else? Ms. Mueller?
I just wanted to say how very proud I am of GEA, of HR. This is such a different negotiating space and environment than it was 10 years ago.
Yes.
And I know that some of that comes from the fact that our voters have supported our district and supported our community. And I just want to say how much I appreciate the passage of the MLO. It has allowed for us to honor our teachers, our building staff, our bus drivers, our nutrition staff, just so many people, by giving them the pay that they deserve for work well done and hard work done. And I just wish, again, like Mr. Bentley, we could do more, but I am so happy that we're at least able to do this. And so again, to the voters of Greeley Evans, thank you for supporting our schools and supporting our teachers and the hard work that everyone does in this district.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I would just like to say that there are so many layers to this, and the work that went into trying to make sure that, you know, that people are compensated. And over the last 2 years, we have, I think every one of us and previous boards have said, oh, what we could do just if we could give teachers more, or how do we honor our teachers, and how can we make them feel appreciated? And this is a small step, but I think we all agree that this is an important step in making things workable for our staff to stay here. One of our big goals is to retain our teachers and our staff, and hopefully this is a step towards that. So again, I appreciate all you've done, appreciate everybody that was involved in this process, and thank you very much.
Well, before you do a vote, I'm going to take a point of personal privilege, out of order. But I just want to say to your comment, Kyle, we absolutely acknowledge that you are spending into the reserves. And I have to say I'm very proud to be a part of a district that is actually spending into the reserves, because that means you are using every dime that you have to improve the school district as a whole. There's quite a few districts that are not making that choice. And so I wanted to acknowledge and value the fact that when you say you're using all of the money wisely, you are using all of the money wisely, and you're not creating that rainy day fund. You acknowledge that it's raining. You are working at everything that you can in order to give the best to the students and the staff here at this district. And I wanted to acknowledge that personally. Now I'm back to GEA president.
We have another comment, Mr. Norwood.
I just want to say, I guess it's okay to say how much fun it was to go through negotiations this year.
That's a rarity, and thank you.
And to get a chance to know you, Andy, I just want to say thank you for everything you've done. And I want to thank the voters as well, too, because if you want to have a strong house, you need to start with a foundation. And a foundation is the way we pay our teachers. So thank you.
Well, it looks like we are ready for a vote.
Director Bentley?
Aye.
Director Mash? Aye. Director Mueller?
Aye.
Director Norwood?
Aye.
Director Pappas?
Aye.
Director Sullivan?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
And that concludes the meeting for tonight. Thanks again to everyone who came and joined us. It was a filled meeting, but a very effective and important meeting. Thank you all.